let's tomorrow. Yeah, let me just have to make the sure clear. All right, page 17. We're doing Shlishi. The synopsis today. Moshe is going to review the Jewish people, the laws requiring them to build railings on the roof of their houses in order to prevent people from falling. So if you have in those days, the roof was flat. It was used as kind of a deck. You had to put a fence. It's a biblical mitzvah. You have to make a safety. And then we'll talk the laws of mixing wool and linen, shatnez. You can't mix wool and linen garments. And then the laws governing cases of suspected unchaste behavior, adultery, rape, and forbidden marriages. Okay, stay tuned. Ches, verse 8. When you build a new house, you shall make a guardrail for your roof. I think the language in the Kahas Chumash is parapet. A parapet. Parapet is a fence. And you should not place, and thus, because you have safety, you should not place bloodshed in your house. If he who is destined to fall were to fall from there. Let's see what it says. You shouldn't cause bloodshed, that someone shouldn't fall from your roof.
But also, just even the fear. You're reminding them that it's there, so they're just going to stay away from the edge.
Well, on the contrary, they can go close to the edge because
they would be freaking out. Worried. Say, okay, gotta stay away.
I'm not sure if that's the calculation. At least not according to the simple Chumash and Rashi. It could be the commentators might expand, like you're saying. Right.
Literally.
Kisivna bayis chadosh, when you build a new house, im kiyamta mitzvah shiluch hakein. Yesterday, you notice Rashi in this parsha does something he doesn't usually do. He doesn't always explain juxtaposition. Juxtaposition means two verses, why they're next to each other. It's not his goal. He's not here to tell you every coded, context. But his goal is to tell you the meaning that you can make sense of this at a very basic level. For whatever reason, he finds it important to explain these juxtapositions. So he says, why is the verse that we ended off yesterday, the mitzvah was the mitzvah of Shiluach Hakein, sending away the mother bird, right? Don't take the mother because she's protecting her eggs, send her away, and then you could take the eggs. But you can't take the mother. It's not right to manipulate her compassion. We said it's a small mitzvah. It's relatively easy. You found a nest, it's free eggs. It's not like a big deal. You're not giving up much. But it says if you do a simple mitzvah like that, you're going to get another mitzvah, which is you're going to have a house. Why are you going to have a house? So you can now do another mitzvah. We say the term mitzvah, gereres mitzvah. Mitzvah causes another mitzvah. And then it goes on, what the next verses are going to talk about. You're then going to have a vineyard, a field, nice clothes, so you can do mitzvahs with those things. That's why all these sections, which are random mitzvahs, are placed together. Because there's an ethical teaching here that's very powerful. That when you do even the smallest mitzvah, it sets off a chain reaction of that you're going to be drawn to another mitzvah. The thing is, to do another mitzvah, you have to have stuff to do the mitzvah, right? If you want to do a mitzvah, you want to make a blessing on food, you need food.
Okay.
So he says, if you do a small mitzvah, like sending away the mother baby bird, which is an easy, cheap mitzvah, Hashem will then give you a house, the next stage. So you can do the next mitzvah, which is putting up a safety rail. And then you have that, then Hashem will give you another mitzvah, give you nice clothes. A house is more essential. Like, and then clothes, are Nice clothes is more luxury item. So the point is these things one lead to the other, but not just mitzvahs, but like blessings. So you can do the mitzvahs, which is pretty nice to know.
Awesome.
Makeh, Geder Sav Lagag. A makeh is a guardrail, we said. Sorry, it's guardrail on a roof. Uncle is translated as tiaka. Like a tiaka is like a tick, is like a bag or a box that guards the contents inside of it. Tick is a bag, I think, a pouch. Okay. Keep on Eiffel. Put up a guardrail that the guy what does that mean? It's an unusual word. I need a Uzdain Chumash, if you don't mind. It's saying this guy, let's say you were sloppy, you didn't have a guardrail, and there was a deck, and the guy walked off and died. So it says, like everything, even something tragic like that, ultimately happens because of divine providence. So the guy was destined to die. But you should not be the sloppy, negligent guy that makes it easy for God to kill him on your watch. Because we know that Hashem will, those that are meritorious, Hashem makes meritorious. Those that are, he gives the good, people who are virtuous, Hashem makes good things happen on their watch. People that are negligent or guilty, Hashem makes bad things happen on their watch. Okay, so be meritorious, put up a guardrail so bad things should happen on your watch. Okay. Next verse. Test. Loi says, do not plant your vineyard with mixed seeds. Lest the growth of the seeds that you plant lest the growth of the seeds that you plant do not become forbidden. As well as the produce of the vineyard. So if you plant wheat in a vineyard, you don't want it to grow. Because once it grows, it now messes up a certain perimeter, like a certain perimeter around the forbidden mixture.
Right.
So he says an example, kilayim, mixed seeds means wheat, barley, and grapeseed together.
Maybe it's like a distraction.
Well, let's finish Rashi and then we'll theorize. So it does not become forbidden. Don't mix wheat, barley, and grapeseed, so they don't become forbidden. Tikdash, the word kadash, right, is a very, we said it's a funny word because it means a bunch of opposite things. What does kodesh mean? Holy. You know, also, Kadesha also means a harlot. Kadesha means a harlot, a woman of ill repute. Same root though. It's the same root. Here we also see a negative connotation that the growth will become forbidden. Tikdash means will become forbidden. So isn't that interesting? That I would say means when it mixed, it becomes holy. No, it becomes unholy. Or
yeah, we can't do it.
So why does it mean opposite things? I thought it's good, the word. Now it's a bad word. So the answer is, he says, Rashi tells us the secret to the word, of the root word kodesh, is that it means something that is distant from the person. Distant. It could be transcendent distant. That's what we call holy. It could be gross distant, as in unholy. Understand? It goes beyond the norm. It's either super good, holy, or it's super bad, unholy. So kodesh means beyond the human being, and that can go in either way. So it could become holy, the word, or in some contexts used as in unholy, forbidden. Isaiah says, do not approach me, for I'm holier than you. Okay. Just cool to know this is a very basic word in Judaism. And you have to understand how it can be used. Amalea. The Malaya, the growth. This refers to the fullness and additional growth of the seed adds. This refers to the fullness and additional growth of the seed adds. Fullness, additional growth. That the seed adds. Yeah. So what happens is, it doesn't say it here, but if you leave it long enough to grow a certain amount, I forget exactly how it works, at 1/200, whatever. It grew 1/200th. Like, whatever that means. I guess what it was. Then it is now messed up, and even around it is messed up. I think in 4 cubits around or so. Okay, Yud. Loi sachrish b'shor v'chamor yachtov. Do not plow with a ox or a donkey together. Loi sachrish b'shor v'chamor hu adin l'chol shnei minim b'shmoilam. Now, you can't crossbreed. You're not crossbreed. You can't mix animals to work together. Now, it gives the example of an ox and a donkey, two, strong animals. But it applies to any animals, by the way. Like, I think the Rambam gives an example. I can't do like a sea lion and like a dog. Like,
why these particular?
Oh, glad you asked. Those are the most common. The Torah typically will use examples that are common. Ox and donkey were the common porter animals, work animals. That's it.
But there might be more to it.
But they weren't as common. So maybe they used, a bear and a lion, but it wasn't common.
No, but they have different characteristics. They behave different abilities and different.
So you're getting to more. I'm just telling you, Rashi saying,
Okay.
this applies to any two different species animals. You cannot harness them to a yoke to work together. This applies also to leading them together, tied as a pair, transporting a load. So it doesn't have to be plowing, which is a heavy labor. It can even be a small lever. They're pulling a small cart. They can't do that either. I believe the reason that's given, maybe in the Sefer HaChinuch, which gives some of the reasoning of the mitzvahs. I just learned this. In typical, it says in the Talmud there's 613 mitzvahs, 365 prohibitions, 248 positives. That's a categorical statement. That has to be. However, in the Torah, it does not list 1, 2, 3. It doesn't do that. So a whole genre in the Middle Ages of Torah study was, which we know it's 613 is the magic number, which verses count as a mitzvah? Because there's more than 613 commandments in the Torah, but some are not eternal, some are temporary, some of them are too general. So there's different called mitzvah codifiers, how they learn which of the verses equals the 613. You get what I'm saying? So I just learned this, that most of the Ashkenazim rabbis, they did not give reasons for mitzvahs for the most part. That wasn't their thing. No reasons. God said so. Reason. The Sephardic rabbis a lot of times tried to find reasons. So the famous book of reasons, the mitzvahs, is called Sefer HaChinuch.
Who wrote it?
What?
Who wrote it?
Anonymous author. There's speculation, but no one really knows.
What's the speculation?
A guy called Rav Aaron of Barcelona, maybe. I I don't know. I don't know what that is, but that's what I've heard. Anyways,
But also Rambam did it too.
Rambam did it as well.
He was a Sephardic rabbi.
Right, exactly. Proving my point. But the famous kind of most user-friendly, the Rambam did in the Guide to Perplex, which is a very complicated book to read. This book is very easy to read. It's very short. Anyways, I believe he gives a reason there that the ox is stronger than the donkey. So it's cruel to make the donkey keep up with the ox's pace. Hence, he can't cross.
But the donkey has advantages too.
So then it goes the other way. Whatever the donkey does, it's hard for the ox. So you want to make it as kind to the animals. You heard that? You've heard that. You don't lie. You know these things. You're just hiding yourself.
Another one is, Rabbi, another one is because we don't create, right? Only Hashem creates, so we can't mix.
We're not crossbreeding. But we're not creating here.
That's one of the reasons why we can't mix.
But we're not creating here. We're just doing work with it. So it's a separate thing. You're right.
Rabbi Goldman last night, he said that they could conceivably crossbreed.
That's true. That's another reason, possibly. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on.
For what it's worth, I can show you anybody's interested where the 613 comes from in the Torah. Okay, and it's very
fantastic. Simple. After class, by all means. Yud Aleph, Lois labashatnez semen ofishim yachtav. You should not wear shatnez, which is a mixture of wool and linen sewn together in your garments. Rashi gives you the meaning of the word shatnez. It means mixture. Rabbis say it is a, I don't know what you call it, like a they say it's an acronym. I guess the best word. It's an acronym of the words shua, tavui, and nuz. Shua tanuz, shatnuz, which means different types of thread production, spinning, smoothing into felt and woven. Okay, Yud Beis. Gidilim tasalach, you shall make tassels. Al arba kanfes ksuscha shetechasaba, on the four corners of your garments that you clothe yourself. Rashi says, why is this mitzvah of tzitzis right next to the mitzvah of shatnez? Random fellows together. And the answer is that because it's a big rule. There's a mitzvah that's positive to have tzitzis, and there's a negative mitzvah to not put wool and linen together. Tzitzis, I think classical tzitzis was on any garment. So it could have been polyester, wool, linen, whatever, silk. And if you had a four-cornered garment, you got to have, and most garments were four-cornered back in the day. You had to put tzitzis on it, but you're not allowed to put wool strings on a linen. You could. A positive mitzvah trumps a negative prohibition when it's just one-on-one. And that's learned also by the fact that it's juxtaposed. We just said don't mix wool and linen, and then it goes and says make tzitzis. It's telling you that, yes, I know you shouldn't make wool and linen, but when it comes to tzitzis, you could. Today we don't do that because we don't need to do that. We're just wearing, we can pick any garment, whatever. Okay. Yud Gimel. When a man takes a woman as a wife and he marries her and then hates her. Rashi. He marries her and then he hates her. It happens. Seifai, then Raj says, ... it will happen, the end will be the following. Next verse, Yudalit. He hates her, and then he plots against her. And he makes a verbal accusation against her and slanders her. And he makes he claims that she was, he says, this woman I married, I married her, I brought her into my house. I did not find signs of virginity by her. She was, in general, in those days, the way marriage worked was you got betrothed, which was a binding relationship that you can't marry anybody else. And if you do, it's adultery. But yet they didn't live together yet. She still stayed in her parents' house for 10, 12 months till she, whatever, got ready. And then they got married under the chuppah, and then they lived as a husband and wife. So he's saying that in this 12-month period, she was unfaithful.
Right.
Rashi says, "V'sam Allah alilis tvarim." He makes a verbal accusation against her. Here we see the mirror image of the principle we said before. We said that why did the Torah string random mitzvahs together? To teach you the principle of mitzvah gereres mitzvah. That mitzvahs bring other mitzvahs. They bring one mitzvah opportunity done well brings another mitzvah opportunity, and so on. And the same in the mirror image by sins. One sin of hating somebody, hating his wife is a sin. You can't hate somebody. You have to work it out. If you have a problem, you can't be passive aggressive. It's a biblical sin to let things fester. But if he sins and he keeps it to himself, then you know what? He's going to come to the next sin. He's going to slander her falsely, which is another big sin.
Right.
As Isha Zais, he says, this woman. When you say the word Zais, Isha Zais, this woman, that implies that when you say Zeh or Zais, it's like Zeh, this. It means in front of you. Or by a woman, by feminine term, you'd say Zais. So that means it's present. This implies that when you bring someone to court, this is one example of court. He's the plaintiff, she's the defendant. They both have to be present. He can't accuse her when she's not present. Okay. Tesvav v'lakach avi hanayda v'ima. So the parents of the woman, of the wife, they take v'itzias b'sulei hanayda. They produce evidence that their daughter was faithful, that she was not. He's lying, and they produce the evidence al ziknei ir hashara before the elders of the city at the gate. The elders, I guess, sat at the gate or something. Or no, this is the gateway of the local court, whatever. Anyways, the girl's father and mother, they get involved. Why do they get involved? Because if she's guilty, then they raise the bad apple. And we say, look at the bad apple. But if they have a right to, they can prove their innocence also. Okay. And the father, I guess, acting as lawyer of the girl, the young woman, he says, follow him. The father says to the elders, "As biti nasat l'isha, my daughter I gave to this man as a wife, and he hated her." We deny what this guy is saying. This teaches you that that there's two parents. Why is the mother not being a lawyer? Because when there's an option of the the father gets the right to be the lawyer. Why was that? Partially because the father has the right to marry off his daughter. The mother doesn't have that right as much. Anyways, that's why he's enmeshed in this story, the father. Now he has made a verbal accusation, and then the father continues in his defense. This, my son-in-law has made a verbal accusation saying, "I did not find your daughter had the signs of virginity." But here is proof of that. I'm bringing proof that she was faithful and she was chaste. First, a similar thing, zikneir, and they prove it so clearly before the elders, the judges of the city. So the literal meaning is they spread out the proof of the signs of her chastity like a garment. What does that mean? It's metaphor. They prove that she's innocent beyond the shadow of a doubt, or extremely clear that he's lying. How would that be? How do you prove that she's innocent? Simple. How did he prove that she's guilty? How is the husband saying she's guilty? By the way, if she's guilty, it's adultery. Adultery is death penalty. So how did the husband claim in court that she's guilty? There's only one way. He gets witnesses that say they saw her be unfaithful. But how does the father defend the daughter? He proves these are bogus witnesses.
Whoa.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Ilchas. Then this husband would get whipped. He'd get lashes. Yisr means malchus. Now, on top of him getting lashes for lying and trying to accuse his innocent wife, he is punished that he have to give a fine of 100 silver shekels to the girl's father because he was slandering a maiden of Israel. And she shall, on top of that, check this out. Talk about deterrent. He can never divorce her if she wants to stay married for whatever reason. He's trying to accuse her and get rid of her. If he's lying, not only does he get whipped, not only does he got to pay 100 shekels, he can't get rid of her the rest of his life.
Whoa.
I mean, unless she wants to end the marriage.
So he can't remarry.
Technically, they could have more than one wife, but the point is, it's like just dessert. You wanted to get rid of her, you got to keep her forever, if she wants, of course. He can't send her away his whole life.
The amount of times you only allowed to have one wife, right?
Later on, but this is talking before. This is when it was. Let's go faster because I got to go in a few minutes and we have to finish up a little more. If this matter was indeed proven to be true, the girl. So, but that's if she was proven innocent. Let's say it's true. She was not a maiden. She was not innocent. Rashi. If the matter is true because the husband proves it with witnesses that say they warned her and she did it anyways after she was betrothed. Then they shall take out this young woman, to the gate of her father's home and stone her there. The men of the city stone her there with stones, and she dies because she committed a shameful act to act unfaithfully while in her father's house, and you shall thus eradicate evil from amongst your community. Says Rashi Chaf Aleph, Al Pesach Beisavia. Part of the reason why is that the parents raised a frivolous girl. It's they see her being put to death. Okay. The men of the city, of her city. This means the presence of the men of her city. The townsfolk don't throw stones. It's the witnesses actually do. The witnesses have to pull the button, push the button. But Chabez. If a man is found lying with a woman who is married to another man, classic adultery, both of them are put to death. The man, the adulterer, the adulteress, and you thus eradicate evil from among Israel. Rashi, both of them shall die. That's what it means. It would have to be a full sin in order for them to be put to death. There's cheating and there's cheating. Okay. Gam, both them. Why I say both? Shnei means both of them. I say also both of them. And what's also? Also is some inclusion in something. So he says, L'rabes habayim ma'achareim. This includes those so if a woman was condemned to death, she's dead man walking. Dead man walking, technically might say she's a non-person. She's like, because she's going to die. She's going to be put to death. Let's say someone committed adultery after she's a dead man walking. You might think he's innocent. He gets off this technicality. She's kind of like the lady's dead lady walking. So this other guy, let's say another prisoner, does adultery another time with her. You might think that he's innocent because she's going to die and she doesn't exist. She's kind of like a non-existence. He's the gam improves. No, he would still get it. Some say gam improves even if she's pregnant. She's put to death. The fetus is killed with her. Okay. Chav Gimel, Kia Naira Besula Meiras Ish is a maiden girl betrothed to a man, a man finds her in the city and rapes her. Rashi, lies with her. This includes those who have relations after. He finds her in the city. Saying here that because she was having a night in the town, that's why he grabbed her. Because if she had stayed home, been more modest, she wouldn't have been in this situation. The city life could be dangerous if you're not careful. You should take both of them out to this gateway of that city, and you shall stone them with stones, and they shall die. Should take both of them out of the gateway to the city and stone them so that they die. The girl because she did not cry out in the city to be saved, and the man because he had relations with his fellow man's wife. You should thus eradicate the perpetrators of evil from among you. Basically, you can never give someone the death penalty unless there's witnesses. In general, you can never. That's a whole different story. But you can't put someone to death without witnesses. You can't convict someone.
You have to have two, right?
Two, and they had to give warning, and there has to be proof that there was no compulsory. There's no force in the matter. The person ate the cheeseburger, willingly with witnesses, and he was warned, and then he gets lashes. Okay, in this scenario, we're talking a big sin. We're talking adultery. So for sure, there's got to be witnesses. Got to be witnesses, big time.
You gotta be warned.
They got to be warned. Now, it mentions a point: the fact that she's in the city, so as witnesses, they warn her. The city also makes her a little more liable because if she claims I was forced and says, why didn't you cry? Why didn't you scream out? You're in a tight city. So when we saw you, warned you, and you didn't say anything, you were obviously consenting. So you're doing this willingly. That's the idea of the city. That's why I mentioned the city. The city it makes it more like she has more of a chance of getting a conviction because why didn't you fight? Why didn't you make noise? Okay, you say, oh, the guy was starting the gun, whatever. There's always we always want to exonerate. We don't want to kill people. Anyways, that's the If a man finds the betrothed girl in the field and the man seizes her and lies with her, and then only the man who lies with her shall die. In the field, there's more. I don't really get how it works because it has to be witnesses. Don't they see what's going on either way, field or city? The point is a field is she was quiet because she thought no one would hear her. It might have looked like consent, but it was really, and she was helpless. So then the guy's only put to death. If you can prove that just the attacker was doing it, then, which is interesting how, forcible rape, it seems like if it's with a married woman, and there's the rape is put to death.
That part you said about married women forced what?
Whatever. This is my own usings. To the girl, however, don't do anything since she did not commit a sin deserving death. For like the case of a man, just like the case of a man rises up against his fellow man and murders him, so is this case. You know what I'm saying? Sort of.
Here,
Um,
repeat.
if a man, basically, this was force. It's no different than someone killing another person. If she's innocent, don't blame that guy's guilty and she's innocent.
Right.
That's it.
Okay.
It's like a case of murder. According to straightforward meaning, this is the meaning. That she's forced, he's doing it on purpose, just like someone would attack someone to kill them. A rabbi has actually expounded something from this, the comparison to tell you how to say, whatever. I don't get it. Okay, move on. Chav Zayin. Since a man found her in the field, she was all alone, betrothed the girl, there was no one to save her. Man finds a maiden that is not betrothed, she's a single girl, and he grabs her, and then he seizes her, lies with her, and they're discovered. So it's not with a married woman, it's with an unmarried woman. Then, the man who lays with the girl shall give the girl's father 50 silver shekels. And basically, he's got to pay the father 50 shekels and he's got to marry her. It's very weird to us. Who would want to marry someone like that? But back then, whatever. This is because he had forced her, he abused her. He cannot divorce her his entire lifetime.